being hyped for stuff can be so exhausting. Hello everyone, TimeToGrind here, and today I wanted to talk about hype and just overall how exhausting it can be to be hyped for something. And overall, that doesn't sound correct, because when you're hyped, you're supposed to be excited for stuff, and you're really happy and you're anxious for stuff to come out, whether it's not only a game, but a book or a movie or a comic or a manga or something like that. You can really be hyped for anything, but it's supposed to be this positive experience, but it just can be so exhausting. And mainly in this video, I'm going to be talking about Artifact, because I am super hyped for Artifact, but like I said, it really applies to anything. If you're really hyped for the new Game of Thrones book to come out, and it's been years and years, that's really bad, because you've been experiencing all this hype for a long time, and eventually it might turn into, you might not be hyped for it at all. But either way, I'm going to be talking about Artifact, but it's really for anything, really. And there's a lot of symptoms that come from being hyped and contribute it to being exhausting. And the first main system is just the fact that you're constantly refreshing either Reddit or Twitter just 80 times a second. I'm constantly on my phone just refreshing the Artifact subreddit for any new news or information. I know that there probably will not even be a new post, because, there's that subreddit's not that active, and, let alone even if some new article comes out from like Rock Paper Shotgun or something, most of the time there's not even really anything new from it. It's just a new combination of words talking about Artifact, so, that's really it. So there's no reason to refresh, like in my case, Reddit for the Artifact subreddit 80 times a second, but I still do, because that's how hyped I am, and that gets pretty exhausting. And the second main symptom is just everyone seems to get, myself included, super attached to every little thing, about it. So, in Artifact's case, Yogscast, the cast of Yogscast, went to Valve headquarters, and, everyone's like, oh, are they talking about, Artifact, or, oh my god, this could be new information, it could be a new media day or something. And so literally, like, every time Yogscast posted something to Twitter that was even remotely Valve related or video game related, it got posted to the Artifact subreddit, and everyone was like, oh my god, do you think, Yogscast, it's a media day right now, do you think, and everyone just got super attached to every single little thing about it. And, I'm not, like, trying to blame anyone else. I was excited for it too, I was super interested. I'm like, oh yeah, what if it means that there's a new media day, we're about to see a lot of new gameplay or stuff like that. And because that's just a symptom of being super hyped for stuff. You're constantly, not only, like, there's nothing new coming out, there's no new content, so anything that could even resemble content or new, information or anything, you get super attached to, because it's the closest to new, content you've gotten. And the third main symptom is just you get super mega hyped, like way more than you were before, every couple of days, and for random reasons. So in Artifact's case, because Artifact is a, card game based off of Dota 2, Dota 2 was having, their international, they're going to start releasing their battle pass, that they do every year for the international, that has a ton of stuff, and not only cosmetics, but gameplay features and all this fun stuff. And a lot of people were like, oh, what if they include an Artifact beta key or, something like that in the Battle Pass? So you buy the Battle Pass and you get, an Artifact key. And everyone's like, oh my god, that could make sense because it's a Dota card game. And, I personally knew in my heart, deep down, that there was no way. Because, my main reasoning was that Valve said, always keeps trying to say that Artifact isn't a Dota 2 card game, it's a card game about Dota 2. And that doesn't seem very different to say, but they're really trying to not separate Artifact from Dota 2, but that is kind of what they're trying to do. They're trying to say, this is its own game. Yes, it's based off of the lore of Dota 2, but it's its own thing. It's not like, they're trying to kind of separate it while kind of keeping it similar, if that makes sense. So to me, it didn't make sense at all why it would be in the Battle Pass. Also, I don't believe it's in a state that's ready for practically open beta, because if anyone can buy a beta pass for $10, it might as well be an open beta, because so many people are going to start buying it. And so I knew that there was no way it was going to be in the Battle Pass, but I got excited. Not only did I start refreshing the Artifact subreddit 80 times an hour, I started refreshing the Dota 2 subreddit 80 times a second, and then with that, the people on the Dota 2 subreddit, they were hyped themselves for the Battle Pass, because, it's this huge addition to the game that they love, so they were all hyped with them, and, it got delayed a day and everything like that, and the people on the Dota 2 subreddit just kept, doing these most hilarious shit posts they were doing these like kind of source filmmaker like pictures of saying like, oh, if every hour you don't release the battle pass, we'll kill one penguin or something. And it's like these penguin couriers. It was hilarious. I enjoyed my time on the Dota 2 subreddit browsing like new and stuff, but it was exhausting because, you know, I got super hyped even though deep in my heart I knew that there was no chance that, you know, Artifact would come with the battle pass. I was like, but there is a chance, there's a small chance. And then I started, you know, refreshing the subreddit 80 times along with the Dota 2 subreddit, and that was double exhausting because now I'm having to worry about two things, and you get way more hyped than you were before because you start thinking, oh my god, if this happens, once I get home from work today, I could play Artifact. Oh my god, wouldn't that be so much fun? And then it gets delayed and you're like, okay, fine, you know, you cool down a little bit. Then tomorrow I'm at work and I'm like, oh my god, it's going to come out soon. You know, in the next couple hours, you know, we're going to find information. Dude, wouldn't it be so great if I could play Artifact once I get home from work and all that stuff? And it's just exhausting. And, you know, obviously that's for Artifact, but this kind of stuff happens all the time with every single, you know, if you're hyped for like a movie like Infinity Wars, I still haven't seen it just because I'm not really excited for, you know, I don't really care about superhero stuff that much, but I remember people being very hyped about that movie, and literally every time like a small little piece of news or there was a chance that some news would come out, people got double hyped. You know, it applies to everything. You know, like George R. R. Martin recently, the guy that's, you know, writing you know, A Song of Ice and Fire, you know, got turned into the Game of Thrones show. He was like, oh, I made a new book, and, you know, everyone got excited, and then it's like, oh yeah, it's a spin-off book, I'm still not making The Winds of Winter. And, you know, it really applies to everything. It applies everywhere that you can get hyped for, and, you know, hype is fun, it can be exciting, but when games, you know, especially, it seems to happen with games and movies, especially books, Song of Ice and Fire, but when things tend to, you know, if you get hyped and it comes out like in a month or two, that can be kind of like decent hype because, you know, it kind of, the whole hype process gets scrunched down and you're not really just like searching for any new content for months and months and months. But when you have Artifact that kind of gets announced at the beginning of the year and it's like, oh yeah, sometime in 2018, that's a long period of time. And that's not even as bad as some things. Like people that were originally hyped for The Division when they first started announcing The Division, that was like a 3 to 4 year process. Like I can't even imagine how, like, I mean, your hype just has to die down at some point. And that's what ends up happening to me a lot. Like it happened to me for Magic the Gathering Arena. I was hyped and hyped and hyped and hyped and hyped, and then I just, you know, I wasn't in the beta or anything, so I just kind of, my hype died down, and then I got in the beta, I got super hyped, played it, don't like the game because of the monetization, and kind of ruined that game for me. Hopefully they fix it, but that's not the topic of this video. You know, it's just the fact that hype can come literally everywhere. I mean, when I was, you know, super into Overwatch, you know, I was making videos the second they announced Overwatch, before they really even showed, like, anything. I was showing, like, I was creating these, like, theory crafting 1v1 videos. I don't know if they're still, they might be unlisted on my channel. I don't know, they might still be up there. But, like, it was, like, Reinhardt versus Winston, 1v1, who would win? And I was, like, looking at the abilities and, you know, theory crafting, and, like, that's what we do. And that's kind of the phase we're in with Artifact, because there's no new content really coming out. You know, every now and then there'll be an article that says one new quote that people didn't really hear about before, and then they get excited about that one quote. But that's kind of where we're at. Just no one has any new information or content to talk about, and it's just, the hype is so exhausting. And I'm still hyped for Artifact. I'm still hyped for a lot of things. You can't stop the hype train, but it does get exhausting after a while. And that's pretty much kind of what I wanted to talk about in this video. But I'd love to hear if you guys have any experiences or things you're personally hyped for, or things you've been hyped for in the past. Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to, you know, hear your guys' experience with hype, you know, good or bad. But if you enjoyed this video, then consider leaving a like down below and subscribing to see more content. New videos come out every Wednesday and Sunday. And like always, guys, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and see you guys next time.